Everyone, we're back. We're in week 9, and we're going to look at this multi-part question for number 7. So it looks like we're working with blood pressure, and it says if the systolic blood pressure for a certain group of people has a mean of 126 and a deviation of 7, find that probably someone in the group will have this given systolic blood pressure. All right, let's focus on part A, 121. All right, so I put some snips on here, but I'm also just going to sketch this out. So let's think about this. You have normally distributed data, right? And so in the center of this 100% of this curve is your mean. And with our z-scores, we're going to call that a mean of 0 and a deviation of 1. So we'll come up 1, 2, 3. You also could come down -1, -2, -3. So what these are your z-scores or your deviations, right? Because those, not all data falls directly right smack dab on the mean, right? Data is going to vary. That's why you have a variation measurement called standard deviation. So let's mark this up. So if you figure out that you have a certain group of people that have a mean of 126 for their blood pressure and a standard deviation of 7, find the probability that you, let's just say, randomly grab someone from this group of people and they are above 121. Okay, so 121 is going to be somewhere over here, but let's figure out how far over here it's going to be. And we can do that by doing what's called a z-score converter. All right, because we're going to be using these area charts, and if you notice, they only care about z-scores and area. So we need to convert. And the converter is, to get your z-score, you just take your number that you want to convert, subtract away the average, and divide it by the standard deviation. So for us, to find our z-score, we are going to take the number we want to convert, which is 121, subtract out 126, and divide it by our deviation of 7. Now in your calculators, make sure you do that first, that 121 minus 126 first, hit enter, and then divide it by 7. So on my calculator, if I take it and I do 121 minus 126, I get a -5, and then I'm going to divide that by 7, and I get the z of -0.714. Now notice the z-scores only go out 2 decimal places, so we're going to call this -0.71. So -0.71 is like right here, right? -0.71. Not quite 1 deviation away from average, so still somewhat close to average, this 121, but it's -0.71. Let's go find the area. Now, if we, let's see if I can pull this over a little bit here. If we go to our z's, right, you have your z's and your area. And on this particular chart, because this is a different chart for number 7, if you remember, if you look in my announcements, questions 1 through 4, you're going to use one area chart, and questions 5 through 10, you're going to use this area chart. I don't know why the homework has 2 different charts, but we're just going to roll with it. So we're going to go find the area. Now, this chart works like this. It only shows you the area from z to the mean in the center. So it's only going to give us that piece. So what it's going to give us, it's going to give us this piece right here. Okay, so 0.71 is an area of 0.261, so roughly 26%, or so 0.261. Now, they want to know above 121, all right? So above 121 is this piece plus all of the rest of this piece. So we're going to need to add 0.261 plus, this is half, right? Half of 100% is 50%. So what we're saying is we have a 0.761 chance of selecting someone whose blood pressure is above 121. Okay, there's a lot of parts to this. If we want to revisit this, we first converted the score, blood pressure score of 121 to a z-score of negative 0.71. Then we went over to the area chart and we found the area of 0.261. This chart only shows area from 0 to your z-score, so we knew that 0.261 is this piece right here. The question says above 121, so that means we want this piece and everything else, which is why we had to add that 50% right here. Okay, let's look at a second part of this problem. Below 139. Okay, so we're going to sketch this out. All right, I highly recommend sketching out. So there's 0, -1, -2, -3 z-scores, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we know that the average blood pressure was 126, give or take 7. So your average is 126 and our standard deviation is 7. Now they want to know below 139. So 139 is going to be somewhere over here, right? Because it's greater than 126. So let's use our z-score converter. So we're going to do 139 minus 126 and divide that by 7. So on my calculator, I'm going to be very careful. I'm going to do the 139, that's the number we want to convert and figure out what z-score it is, minus 126, which is our average, and divide it by 7. And I am getting a z-score of 1.857. Notice you only want to come out 2 decimal places. So we're going to make this a z-score of 1.86. Notice it's a positive z-score because 139 is higher than 126. So 1.86 is like somewhere here, 1.86. Now the area that goes with 1.86 is 0.469, but keep in mind, remember, that that's just the area from here to here. So this is 0.469. Now they want to know below 139. So we're going to take the 0.469, but we're going to need to add it to the 5, right, the 50% to the other side. So if we take 0.500 plus 0.469, we should get 0.0969, which is what they got right here. So I put this on here just to sort of keep myself straight and also show you kind of like the snips that I took from the the question in Alex. It lets you walk. It gives you an example of how to do it. So I just took little snips of it so that you can kind of see that. Okay, one more piece. Same group of people. This time we're looking to see how many people, or the probability of finding people or someone that has blood pressure between 116 and 135. So let's sketch it out. All right. Here's our average of 126. 1, 2, 3 deviations up. Okay, let's start with 116. So 116 we know is going to be somewhere down here because it's less than 126. So we'll convert that to a z-score. 116 minus 126 over 7. All right, so be super careful. Make sure to do this first, right? Otherwise you're going to get something that's not right for your z-score. All right, so my calculator, if I take my calculator and do 116 minus 126, I get a negative 10 divided by 7. I get a z-score of negative 1.43, and that's me rounding it 2 decimal places. Okay, now let's find the z-score that goes with 135. So 135 is here. Before I do that, let's go over here and mark. Negative 1.43 is like right here. Negative 1.43. Okay, remember the chart is going to give us this area right in here. So actually what we could do is go find that area real quick. So negative 1.43, let's go find it. So 1.43 is 0.424. Okay, so this is 0.424. Okay, let's convert this other one. So we have a blood pressure of 135 minus 126 divided by 7. All right, again, be careful on your calculator. Do this calculation first, hit enter, and then do the second calculation, the division. So 135 minus 126 is 9 divided by 7. I'm getting a z-score of 1.29. Now I'm rounding that, right? Because we want to come out 2 decimal places. So let's go find the area that goes with 1.29. Okay, 1.29 has an area of 0.402. So let's mark this. This is 1.29. And this has an area of 0.402. Okay, so they want to know between the two, so we need to add these together. So 0.424 plus 0.402 would give us 0.826. So there's an 82.6% chance, and that's what they got, that you would randomly select someone in this group that has a blood pressure between 116 and 135. I hope this video helps. We'll see you in the next one.